Thank you so much, Senator Kerr, for your powerful witness on this really important issue. So the research on so-called conversion therapy is robust, and the evidence is clear. Efforts to change a person's sexual orientation or gender identity are not effective, and they are associated with many severe, sometimes long-term symptoms, and sometimes deadly consequences. We know that the suicide rates, the suicide attempt rates for LGBTQ youth who've been exposed to conversion therapy, 42%. 42% of kids who experience conversion therapy. And when I say conversion therapy, I want to be clear, I'm using that term very broadly to mean any efforts, any techniques to attempt to turn a gay person straight, or someone with gender identity to change their gender expression or their gender identity. These efforts do not work. Aside from suicide, we know that there's very high risk of drug use, unsafe sex, loss of faith, and all kinds of mental health symptoms, anxiety, panic attacks, depression, self-harm, suicidal thoughts, suicidal attempts, and actual suicide. So we're talking about saving kids' lives here when we talk about this bill. I think that's really important to keep in mind. We have so many groups here to speak. I'm going to let them speak for themselves, but I want to say that it's been amazing to see the breadth and the diversity of the support from religious leaders to the medical community, to the mental health community, to health advocates, to students. We had 289 medical students from UK and the University of Louisville sign on to a letter speaking out about the very, very dangerous practice of conversion therapy, and that was compelling. I also want to echo what Senator Kerr said, that we fully acknowledge that there are good and loving people who desperately want this to work. And I have to say, as I've spoken with more and more survivors of conversion therapy, it's one of the things that my eyes have really been open to, is that often people are entered into these dangerous, sometimes deadly treatments, come from a place of love. Think about that. I've let that sink in, that people are trying to help kids and in fact exposing them to dangers that they're not even aware of. One of the things that we have been criticized about this bill is that it does not go far enough. We know that conversion therapy is practiced in many different types of settings, and as legislators, we only have authority over certain areas. But there are three very, very important things that this bill can do and that we must do. The first is to ensure that no licensed individual is engaging in these discredited, dangerous, and sometimes deadly practices. I'm a licensed psychologist myself. If I were to send my child to a licensed psychologist, I would like to know, or any licensed mental health provider, I would like to know at a minimum that they're not going to be subjected to a treatment that inflicts harm, at a minimum. The second thing we can do is that we can ensure that no federal money, no state money, no public dollars of any form in the state of Kentucky are going to agencies that are providing or inflicting conversion treatments on kids. We know that our youth in foster care are particularly vulnerable to these dangerous treatments, and some of the treatments they're being subjected to are being funded with public dollars. The third thing we can do is to create and disseminate evidence-based materials to distribute to every agency that serves youth, to let them know of the dangers, to say we understand that this may be coming from a place of love and concern and compassion, but you need to know what the evidence states. The evidence states that these practices are not effective and they are harmful and potentially deadly. It's so important that we do this. As a legislature, as a political body, things can become very divisive. We can argue with each other, but when it comes to the safety of our kids, when it comes to standing up to protect Kentucky's children, this needs to be, as my friend Senator Kerr has made so clear, a bipartisan, broad effort to protect our kids from these dangers. And that's what we're seeing here today. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much to all the groups who came out to support our efforts to keep our kids safe.